folks, we're out here working on this old thing, and I found a puddle underneath it, and I took a closer look at it, and it looks like it's coming between the transfer case and the transmission. So yay, I get to pull the transfer case out yet again. Super pumped about that. So I'm gonna drop that thing out. Also, my oil pan looks like hell. It's lasted for quite a while. I've had one in a new slave cylinder sitting downstairs, so I figure might as well go ahead and go through everything that's down here. I know that the downpipe has to get yanked. Yeah, quite a lot of things to do. So I'm gonna get after it and yeah, pull some stuff off. I'll show you what it all looks like when it comes out, and hopefully I can find out where this leak is. Well, we finally got this transfer case pulled out, and I learned that the fluid coming out is landing on the transfer case. But I'm still going to go ahead and clean this thing off, because when we did our rear subframe, we didn't end up going through and cleaning this off correctly and getting the rust off of it and then sealing it up. And I'm going to swap this out. I'm going to swap the oil pan out. I got a fresh coat of paint on this right here. It's not the prettiest, but I sandblasted it and I got 90% of the inside of it taken care of. Washed it out. The outside was kind of iffy, but it's been dented. I got it for cheap on Marketplace. I've straightened it out as best I can. Everything on it looks fine. Painted the outside a couple of coats of Rust-Oleum and then sealed it up with some self-etching primer and blah blah. So that's all good to go. This, on the other hand, I'm going to use my Ryobi right angle grinder, clean as much crap off of this as I can. And then I found my leak, like I was saying earlier. It's actually the axle seal. I should have done more investigation, but this thing needs to get gone through and cleaned up. No leaks in this so far. I'm just going to clean it off and then paint it up, slap it in fresh. I got some Kroil on all the bolts underneath the car for the oil pan. Hopefully those come out easy and they don't snap on me, because that would just really friggin' suck. I'm going to keep after it, boys, and we'll see what this looks like once it's done. I've been working on this transfer case here. You guys can see, covered up the snout here. I got this breather that I was going to try to pop out, but I don't want to damage it. I want to leave it alone. I've cleaned off everything, and I started smoothing out some of the castings just because, grinding off some of the sharp edges and getting rid of some of the pitting that's on here, just to make it kind of look pretty. I'm going to work on it just a little bit more. I got the side of the cover here kind of cleaned off. Doesn't look the best, but all the aluminum stuff, the cast aluminum looks fine. The cast iron over here, not the best yet. So I went and picked up a jug of the good stuff. You guys saw me use this on my rear def, my subframe in the back, whole mess of parts, whole mess of pieces. This is the good stuff. It says 30 minutes, but I recommend leaving it overnight. And what you see here, all that dust, I'm going to plug that axle hole. It's here. You know what? Give me 1 second. Let me dust it off a little so you can actually see. Well, I guess I didn't really do too much. You can kind of see right here. If I can get this to focus right. Yeah, there you go. You can see the metal grains and stuff and the little pits that are everywhere. These areas right here, this is like a rust coating that's on it. It's kind of in all the corners and curves and stuff and along the edges. I did sand down some of the stuff here, but along the edge of the case. I spin it outside. Oh, they're not very light. All this. I can't really get in there. I'm not going to spend hours on this. I just wanted to clean it up. All these little spaces inside of here. There's not really rust in there, but this kind of does take some of the grease out too. But I'm going to go through, I'm going to soak some of it down with this, rub it in with a brush, and then after it's all said and done, I'm going to let it sit overnight. We should have something that looks a little cleaner. I might try the SEM stuff right here, the rust trap protective coating, just because that'll keep this thing from going. It's going to match the same as my rear diff. It's kind of a similar process. So I'm not hurting the bolt holes, the mounting points, any part of the functionality of it. I'm not removing any of the stuff. I'm probably just going to run straight through it, soak it down with some of the gel, and you guys will see what it looks like. The stuff's absolutely freaking amazing. But I'm going to get after it. I'll show you what it looks like here shortly. Alright guys, here we are on some cardboard, and we got a pick, a plastic bristle brush. I know a lot of aluminum's here, but the bolts are still steel. I've got some bolts sitting in here. This stuff right here will sit and fizzle and bubble and work as you work through it. I don't know. There you go. You can see, if I zoom in on that, all these little bubbles are all little oxides being broken down by the acid that's on the inside of this gel here. Definitely check this stuff out. I got this one at Walmart. It was like 12 bucks. Highly effective and very much so worth it. I brushed some of it in, took a pick, scratched into all the little dips and stuff that I couldn't get to, all the aluminum stuff I'm kind of leaving. There is some rust that's on the head of that, and it's just sitting there sizzling. Super good stuff. I'm gonna let this run overnight instead of 30 minutes. Find that the best results come from an overnight sit. And that's what I've done for the last couple of big jobs that I did. We'll see what it looks like tomorrow once I get it all rinsed off, get it all cleaned off, wiped down. Hey there, folks. We're out here yet again. It's the next night. My transfer case is downstairs. I just added a little bit more of the rust dissolver on some of the cast stuff. Now I'm gonna work on pulling this wheel off because we have to get to this axle, pop it out. This one sucks. I hate this one because it's got the carrier, the 2 bolts on the back of the block that you got to get to. So I'm gonna rip this wheel off, get this axle popped out. All right, so I have completely removed my axle, pulled all the stuff out, the seal on the driver's side, which goes into the transmission. That's no good. This is sitting here just sizzle bopping away. You can see the little bubbles and all that stuff on it. If I zoom in, you can see they're still popping. It looks black right now, and that's fine. Our oil pan still chilling over there, waiting. That's gonna get swapped out too. I have to pull the gasket out for that, and I have to spray some penetrating oil on all those little 10mm bolts because we don't want to be breaking bolts. Also, if you're going to swap your oil pan out and you're pulling those bolts and they're a little crusty and rusty, hit them with penetrant a couple of days ahead, and then before you start pulling them out, get one of those little mini torches, and you can heat those bolts up, or just the circumference of the pan before you drop it off. Guys, it's the next day. I've gone through wire brushed and plastic bristle sanding brushed and blah blah. I've cleaned this whole thing off, got the rust stuff off of it, sanded down some of the imperfections that were on it. It's 95% clean. I'm gonna brake parts cleaner it, alcohol it, whatever, plastic, brush all the little spots and corners and such. Now I gotta clean out where the axle goes in, probably grease that back up. I'm ready to put something underneath it, and I'm gonna use this SEM brand rust trap. And yeah, I put a glove on it because I had to poke a hole in the can. I couldn't get the lid off. Brand new can too. We're gonna put a coating on this whole thing and then clean off the mating surfaces on this side where it touches the engine block or the transmission, and make sure all these surfaces are real nice, and we're not going to end up with like a chunk of paint making things misaligned or anything like that. I'm going to hit this with the rust trap. I'll show you what it looks like once it's all finished. All right, guys, I got this thing. Just one light coat is all I did. I just cleaned off all these mating surfaces so there's not any poly anywhere. It looks actually pretty good. Everything looks wet, It didn't roll on the smoothest in some spots. I don't really care. I just don't want it to be a rusty, nasty transfer case again. I do got to find some small drill brushes to get down in here where the CV axle lives and try to clean some of that out. I'm going to get after it. I'll see you guys here shortly. So guys, I wanted to show you this. Right here is the part that I got from CarQuest. It was $25.13. Part number 710259. That is this seal, and I believe this is a T-case or diff seal. Maybe a diff seal, but they sold me this, and that was incorrect. I needed part number 710199, which is this right here. This is the metal-backed CV axle seal, and this just presses into the side of the transmission. And this one was actually $32.09 pricey. So get them on STM Tuned if you're gonna get like 2 or 3 of them, just to have a couple. I think they're like 10 or 12 bucks online. Some places are $9. This came, I called this morning at I think 11 a.m. and it showed up by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so it was a couple hours difference. Pretty good. That's the only reason I spent that kind of money on a single seal. We're going to slap this thing in and pull our oil pan off to get ready to replace that. It's been a few days. I had to order some stuff because I had a series of unfortunate events unfold, and this is just my random stuff. But right here I wanted to show you these. These are 1, 2, and 3. These are the aluminum threads that pulled out of my transmission case where my transfer case bolts go in. I was blown away. They came out like nothing. I didn't put too much pressure on them. I used a 3/8 wrench, a short one, all 3 in like a triangle on the rear of it. Just, this is what I got. And I mean, it's just insane to me. So that kind of put me dead in the water. Now I'm stuck waiting for some stuff to show up from Amazon. I went on and I found Billet Tools. In case you guys are wondering about your transfer case bolts, they're M12 by 125. You get 10 helicoils, you get the little tool to install it, the tap, the bit, and a little tool that unscrews a little Allen key right here off this guy, and then you can knock off the little tabs on the inside. And those are the helicoils right here. This is going pretty well so far. The 2 long bolts were in there fine, but I'm down here. Let me show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so up under here, these are the bolt locations. I put some grease inside of each one of the holes, and that one's stripped, that one's stripped, that one's stripped. This one looked a little iffy, this one looked a little iffy, so I'm just gonna chase all these ones with the right size 12x125 tap, not the one included in the kit because this one's bigger, so you can install the helicoil, but I have more taps, so I'm gonna tap these other 2 holes here just to hopefully clean up the threads. But helicoil will make it stronger than it is. I mean, they're dissimilar metals, so putting a steel bolt, a hardened steel bolt, you know, grade 8 or whatever bolt into an aluminum case, you always run the risk of dissimilar metals getting together and making bad stuff happen, making it hard to take them out. But I got a 3/8 wrench, and I got my tap up there, and I'm using this awesome grease. I buy this stuff all the time, this Super Lube multi-purpose synthetic grease. Sorry, it's sideways. I just fill the holes. It's thick enough to stick. It doesn't run. It does make kind of a mess once you go to clean it up, but it works really, really well when I tap stuff. So I wanted to show you that. The first one's in about halfway. That one doesn't have an opening in the back of it. This other one right here doesn't have an opening in the back of it, but these 3 are open all the way through. And you can see by the grease coming out the backside. And my oil pan is swapped out. I'm gonna knock this out real fast. I'll show you what it looks like once you get a helicoil installed. Obviously, first you wanna clean everything out, drill them out to the appropriate size, which is on this drill right here. I don't know what size this is, it says it in the kit. But once you drill out the holes to accept the helicoil, you run your tap through it, then you clean everything, all right? Get it all nice and clean, brake clean it, get all the grease out of there, get it nice and dry, no oil, get it free of grit and grime, and then you add some red thread locker, or red Loctite, and you put that on the outside of the helicoil, you start it, screw it all the way in, and then you break off the tab, etc., and then you have a new bolt hole. Also, these are good because you can snip them to cut them to length. I got my new axle seal installed, my new oil pan's on. I threw some RTV on there. I did kind of a messy job over here by the transmission plate. A little dirty, a little greasy, a little stinky down here because some of the stuff overflowed. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. I just want to get this thing put together and drivable again. So make sure you also clean off the guide pins and the holes on the side of the transfer case. Make sure there's no paint or anything inside of these, because these are what locate the shaft and make everything nice and square. So double check that for yourself. I cleaned mine all off before I put this on and ground down the bolt surfaces where the hardware goes in, so it didn't like hang up the bolts or anything and give me like a fake feeling of torque when I don't actually have the right torque on. I'm gonna get after it. I'll see you guys here shortly. After I run the tap through here, I didn't chase this hole or this hole yet, but I got that one done, which is got no has a bottom. That one has a bottom. These 3 are open. Look at the quality of the threads that come out of that tap. They're perfect. That's one, that's the other, that's another. That kit, I'll share the link in the description. It was like 17 or 18 bucks, something like that. But there, we got that. Now I have to come down here, and sorry if the audio or something is messy because I'm laying on my back right now. Now we have to use our Loctite. This install tool just goes in the hole. The little tail that's on it attaches to the end. There's a little slit you can see. And I put Loctite on the whole outside of it. Thread it all the way down into the hole. And then use this piece, the other part that's included, to knock the little tail off so our bolt can go through. So I'm gonna do that. I'll be back soon. This is very cramped. See you in a minute. I got the new threads installed up here. You guys can see they're there, they're there, they're there. And then I chased these holes out. I'm gonna blast that little bit of leftover grease out. These threads look nice and happy still. They don't look like they're missing a beat. So I'm happy with that one. I'm happy with that one. That one pulled completely out. Like, I couldn't believe it. That was nuts. You guys saw earlier. I loved using this tap and install kit. The only area I had an issue with was this top hole here because it was hitting the axle, that handle. So I had an old one from AutoZone kit. I just lopped a little chunk of the T off, the T handle part, and it fit in there perfectly fine. And then I used the OEM one to do the last couple quarter turns to drive it all the way home. But we're good. I'm going to install this transfer case finally. My God. I'm also going to grease up these bolts a little tiny bit just to make it so I can take them back out again without hurting anything. But this is the way to go. I've used so many taps, but with these Billet Tools taps, they were butter. They didn't give me any issues. They didn't skip a beat. This old cast aluminum, it just falls right out like butter. So I'm going to keep after it. I'll show you once I have it all put back together, I guess. And we got to fill it with fluid. All right, boys, we have our transfer case back in finally. I'm super excited about that. Frickin' finally. I've been waiting here for, it's taken 2 weeks to go through with ordering stuff, stripping holes, blah, blah. You guys know how it goes. Next is that bastard right there. He's coming out. I'm going to spray it with some Croil before I get out of here. But I have another one. I was going to replace it in this video, but I'm not. I'm just going to do it on my own. You guys don't need to see how to replace a slave cylinder anymore or bleed a clutch. Everything's put back together. These bolt holes, once you put those billet tools threads in there, those helicoils, they feel better than the front two right here. That one turns and then locks out. It's done. You can't crank it anymore if you want to. These ones, however, you get them nice and snug. You can still keep going an eighth turn, eighth turn, eighth turn, eighth turn. And that's probably honestly what I did when I was cranking them. But this transmission secondhand, this transfer case has been off, what, 3 times with me so far. So I've lubed everything, cleaned everything, chased threads, chased holes. If these front two need to get done in the future, no big deal. It's easily accessible. I can get the drill bit in there and all that. But now we have good, strong threads. Our transfer case is back in. I'm going to crank that drain plug nice and tight. Pull the fill plug on the front side here. We're going to fill that with fluid, then top off the trans. Then I have a new down pipe that I'm building up at work, utilizing the OEM flange. So yeah, that's going to be nice. I'm going to use the stainless steel stuff from Dynavoxparts.com. Then I'll make the rest of the exhaust system probably over the winter sometime in my workshop up at my job. I'm thinking that's going to be the best place to do it because I can pull it inside, get it up in the air. My welder's up there anyway. This was a success. Again, here, Super Lube. If you guys don't have this, works great for the tap. Whatever grease you got, it's better than none, so don't think you have to buy something special. I'm going to put you guys down for a few. I'm going to grab some fluids, get all the stuff out here, fill some stuff up, pack it all up, call it a night. You guys don't need to see how to fill this thing up, but we finally got it fixed. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. Thanks for following along. Sorry it's been so long since the last DSM update. It's beautiful out here. It's fall. It's upstate New York. I'm going to go ahead and leave it right there. I'm going to get this car figured out. I'll show you guys all the exhaust stuff and the next few projects. Those of you who sent out tune requests, they're coming back to you shortly. I've got a couple of them finished up tonight. I'm going to email out. So if you're seeing this video, you probably already got your files. And if you're still waiting, just keep sending data logs back to me of what you got, and I'll keep trying to do my best to help you out. All right, guys, take care. Thanks for watching. See you later.